Take it away.
Thank you, Raymond. And thank you, everyone, for coming. So a little bit about my background. I was born in England, in Oxford, and I moved to Montreal when I was 6 years old, and I started learning French. And at home, we spoke Geordie. All my family's from Newcastle. So an example of Geordie, the way they say yes, is "Why I man." You know, it's a very, very different language as French is. So I did a double major in English literature and history. Then I went back to Oxford and did the CELTA Certificate of Teaching. Then after that, I ended up in Spain for 2 years. So I started learning Spanish, which was quite easy, learning French, then going to Spanish, just different accent. Then I came to Japan, and that's a different language. Yeah. So 2 years in Tokyo, and they sent me down here to Fukuoka to open up schools. I've been here for 20 odd years. So yeah, at Shane Language School, I worked for 10 years. And then I worked at Fukuoka, a girls' private Catholic school, for 10 years. And for the past 5 years, I've been working at both. You gotta pay the bills, right? Don't put your eggs all in one basket. Yeah. So the way, the younglings, the children, and the yo-yo, the way children learn, I think the main thing I try to keep in mind, and I used to do training for teachers, and I'd always say the most important rule is always have fun. That's what they teach us in scuba diving. If you're not having fun, something's wrong. Stop, think, and react like that. And also perpetual praise. You can never praise enough, I think, with the younglings. And the frequent frown, I like to call it. You know, the kid is misbehaving, just look at them. And it goes a long way. You don't have to yell at kids. Just look at them, and the other kids look, and they're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And they sort themselves out. Most of the time. Or even, no thank you goes a long way. Kids understand that. So the learning styles. Do you know the B.R.E.W? It stands for visual, auditory, read, write, and kinesthetic. So this is the way people learn languages. They're the sensory modalities. And they reflect the experience of students and teachers in a learning environment. So as a teacher, I like to keep all these 4 things in mind. So first, the visual, learning by seeing, which is vital for learning a new language, especially for children. They learn by seeing. They can understand by pictures. And the oral, auditory, describes preferences for information heard and spoken. Again, listening to the teacher and that. So with children, a lot of flashcards, singing along, repeating, answering questions, things like that. So different children learn in different ways. And the reading and writing, for young children at the kindergarten level, especially in Japan, learning to read, that is just touched on the basics. So for English, for a Japanese learner, it's very limited to CVC, consonant, vowel, consonant. That's where I try to get them to by the end of kindergarten. If they can read cat, hat, dog, things like that, my job's done. And they can go on to elementary school, they've got the foundations of reading. But it starts with whole word recognition, just the shape of the word, not being able to read yet in the first year. So by the 3rd year, if they can read CVCs, I think they're on their way. And kinesthetic, learning by doing. You know, kids are very, very physical. They learn by doing things. So in my lessons, I try to, that's the 90% of the time we're doing something, because they can't sit down for 90% of the time, right? So that involves singing, dancing, TPR, total physical response. It's getting them. A lot of kids, you know, maybe they can't speak English, but if they hear the song and they do the actions, they're halfway there. You know, I think that they're doing a good job, and you're doing a good job too as a teacher. So that's like the output before they can speak, the physical element of it. Okay, so let's have a look at what I do day in, day out. So one of my favorite go-to song writers is Dream English Kids. Does anyone know Dream English Kids? Nobody knows it? It's amazing. This guy is great. He's an American guy. He's been doing, I think he's a musician originally, but he writes songs for kids, and he's fantastic. You know? So I made this chart for days of the week. And I snuck in a little bit of Japanese at the bottom there. But don't tell anyone. So basically it was like Monday. So they, you know, they have the written word, and they hear it, and then these are the actions that go along in this song that I grabbed off the internet. So on Monday, what do? Can anyone?
Wake up and go to school.
Yeah, close, but that's not it.
Stretch.
Stretch. No? Anyone else?
Kick? Kick something?
You say hit?
Kick.
Kick. Yeah, kick your feet.
You wake up.
What do you do when you kick your feet up in the air?
Jump. Jump.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jump up and down. So let's have a listen. This is the best tool for teaching kids. A Bluetooth speaker, a little pointer, you can hook it on, put it in your pocket, you can drop it. Yeah, I've had this for years. This is the workhorse. Oh, no, didn't want to do that. Right. Let's have a listen.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go! On Monday, I jump up and down. On Monday, I jump up and down.
Yeah, jump up and down. So next, on Tuesday?
Spin around.
Perfect.
Tuesday, I spin around. On Tuesday, I spin around.
Oh, Wednesday, then comes the hump day. What's going on Wednesday? Eh?
Not me. I wasn't good job. Not me.
I heard it.
Something.
On Wednesday, I stomp my
Stomp my feet.
I stomp my.
Didn't think anybody would get that. I was not confident about it, but you know, obviously I pre-teach this. I don't do this to the kids. On Thursday?
March.
My feet on Thursday, I march to the beat.
I march to the beat. On Friday?
Pick my nose.
Almost, but we're trying to limit that with all the stuff that's going on now. So
On Thursday, I march to the beat. On Friday, I touch
my
my nose.
nose.
On Friday, I touch my nose.
but thank you for throwing that out. On Saturday.
Touch my toes.
On Saturday, I touch my toes. On Saturday, I touch my toes. On Sunday, I sleep.
Yeah. And the kids just all lie down and go to sleep. It's magic. This guy is magic. Yeah. Yeah, he's got like 5 or 6 CDs out. But yeah, you know, you need to like make the pictures, pre-teach the words, teach the actions, get the kids up doing it, and you've covered all the bases. So what's next? This is my classroom at Futaba, the kindergarten. So I use a textbook, or a reading book for kids. It's called the Potato Pals. Anybody Potato Pals? Ever heard of it? You heard of it?
Maybe.
Maybe? Yeah. Another great series. It's written by an American guy and a Japanese lady. But it works great at kindergarten. You know, the first year we do 3 books, 1 book a term. Second year, and then the third year they have English twice a week, so we get to do 2 books a term. And they just cover all the bases. You know, they've got all the flashcards. They got songs and the books and go back. And all the characters. These are the Potato Pals. So for example, third year, term 2, each book has story sentences, focus words, and topic words. So, you know, at the beach, we put on sunblock, we play in the sea, and the focus words, vocabulary, and then some adjectives because of that focus. So it's really good because some of them are like, I wake up in the morning, what do you do? I go to school. It's the language that kids know. And then, yeah, here's the Dream English Kids, the songs that I use for that. And some music videos. And then we get into the phonics and stuff. And of course, Halloween. Because that's the September-October one. So yeah, they're all pictures. So, you know, you teach by pictures, and then we do the actions. You know, I put on sunblock, I play in the sea, I build sandcastles, I chase crabs, things like that. And the kids, they love it. They really, so by the time, yeah, you teach it through so many different ways, by the time they're expected to say it with a song, it's, you know, they enjoy it. It's quite natural. And then when it comes to reading, like I said, CVC, and this is whole world recognition. So they just, you know, oh, these little 2 things down here, that must be purple. Oh, there's only 1 thing down here, that's pink. Yeah. And then you have the color around it, and they just associate the shape of the word with the color. And then for an activity, I like to call this the color castle. So I set this little thing up here. Each kid gets a card with a color on it, like the red shape. And then they go into the castle and find the color scarf that they have on their card. And then they come out at the other end. Yeah, it's a great activity. And next, this is something from a site. Is it on? Oh, it's TGS. Does anybody know Teachers Pay Teachers? Yeah? Fantastic site. They don't, yes, teachers that have designed materials. You go on the site, I downloaded this PowerPoint presentation, and each of these is a screenshot. So it's like a kinesthetic alphabet. So let's learn the letter A. A is for alligator, you drill it, the kids stand up, make a letter with their bodies, and then tracing, because they're not writing, so they're just doing it physically before, you know, they get on to the next level. Yeah, and then just drilling the words. And it's not on there. The last slide is, what words do you know that begin with A? And then, so I have like posters all around the classroom, so A, you know, what words? Oh, apple, ant, and all this. And they look around the classroom, and I walk around the classroom, and I'm like, oh, let's have a look. And yeah, it's a really nice way for them to input the language. And then luckily at Futaba, I've been able to, instead of just teaching 30 kids for half an hour all at once, twice a week, to get 5 kids for 10 minutes on their own. It's something we just started. Anybody know the Ego series? No? You know? Yeah. So Yeah, it's like, what's a Japanese game? Uno. It's like Uno.
Oh,
So same color, same number. You can play your cards, so you get kids. So yeah, it's just reading CBCs. And what's been really successful is I put them into like levels. So the higher level, 5 kids together, and then down one. So they learn together and at their ability. And then the question wheel. So what we do is, again, with the 5 kids that come in for 10 minutes, they spin the wheel and we ask them a question. What's your favorite fruit? What's your favorite vegetable? What sports do you like? Can you jump rope? Can you swim? And each kid has a card, and every question, they get a stamp. And that, so yeah, it really motivates them to speak. And so, can you swim? They're like, yes. But eventually they're like, yes, I can. So just building up that confidence and making complete sentences as opposed to one-word answers, which they get too often. And that's me in the classroom with my guitar. Some of you know I play guitar. Yeah. So yeah, it's really nice. We have like the playground outside. So we just like alphabet hunt. I can put letters outside, the alphabet, give them a flashcard, go find your letter. Now that the weather's warming up, it's nice. Yeah. Oh, and this one. Yeah, this is one of the first activities. I didn't mention that. When I get them into the classroom, we do like a hello song, warm up, get them fired up to have some fun in English. But then I get them to count and sit. So each student, one by one, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, get them to sit down, and they're all very ready to learn, So but they're counting, and I'm not saying anything. That's the thing when you get there, when you just like walk in, you do the actions, and you're not saying anything. And the kids are saying it. The homeroom teachers are like, what's wrong with this? And it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what you want. Yeah. So. The yo-yo is basically a nice younglings, and yo-yo has a rhyme to it. So just get them down, like the yo-yo goes down. Teach the vocabulary or whatever, the language that you want, and then get them up using the language, and then get them down. Okay, next thing, we're doing this, get them up using the language. That's basically what it is, the yo-yo. It's quite simple, but effective. Yeah. So yeah, is that time?
Yeah, still a minute 30.
Minute 30?
Well, I mean, you can.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
I had two pages of all that BARC stuff, but I figured you guys can go online, have a look at BARC. It's very good for teaching. Try to keep that in mind.
Okay. Well, we got a good 10 minutes.
Yeah, just
for Q&A. But is there anything you wanted to wrap up with, or just
yeah, two of my favorite expressions, as you were, when I was like, I think it's an old military term. Chance favors the prepared. Or Boy Scouts, maybe I was in, I learned that. And yeah, I mean, that's great. Chance favors the prepared. You have to be prepared. But just a few years ago, it was a Japanese anime artist. I don't remember his name. He lived in America, and his expression was, by the time you're ready, it's already too late. So I like those two expressions. Be prepared to wing it. Is mine. Okay, so be prepared to wing it. Thank you, everybody. What was your favorite slide?
We got plenty of time for questions. Laura, your hand is up first. Go ahead.
Yeah, you gave us lots of cool ideas about things that really work. I wondered if you had any things where you thought this was going to go great, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
just didn't. Have
Yeah.
any examples of that?
An example? No, because it's gone. If it doesn't work, it's gone. Yeah.
Just like what kind of things, you know?
It'd probably be the dart gun.
Dart gun.
The day I brought the dart gun. It wasn't to the girls' private Catholic school. It was Lake Iowa, the language school, with like elementary kids. Yeah, don't use a dart gun. We use a sticky ball. Sticky ball's good. Yeah, stay away from guns, everybody. It's never gonna end good. Thank you, Laurie. Yes?
Okay.
How does this translate, like, let's say 10, 15 years later? Can you see any difference between the kids who have been learning these kind of methods or the kids who have not been learning these kind of methods? I mean, Japanese are kind of notorious about learning a lot of English in school, but then not being able to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, they can use it, but also just last week I got an email from a friend who moved up north, and he was our manager at the Eikaiwa, and now he's at a public school. He's like, you can really see the difference of the kids that go to language school once a week. So yeah, they're not going to be fluent right away, but yeah, it does make a difference, not only on their English ability, but on their confidence, I think, as a person. So yeah, just this last week, that's what I heard.
Question maybe from your experience or from experience of your the parents of your students.
Yeah.
Like I've heard stories about like that, like children who are born like when parents are from different countries and just magically become bilingual. What kind of effort, like is it true, or like what kind of effort parents must do like to actually make it happen? Is it magically true?
I believe in magic. My son's Japanese is a lot better than his English. That's quite embarrassing for me, but I think he'll get there eventually. So, it depends on the parents, but it also depends on, the kids.
Some kind of
And when they're ready.
Like you need to pay attention to
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. I just think just exposure, just exposing them, and they'll pick it up on their own, at their own pace, at their own time, I think.
Good.
I wanted to ask if you could give an example of the yo-yo activity. I didn't understand how it works. Yo-yo thing.
How does the yo-yo? Can you explain the yo-yo metaphor?
Oh, the yo-yo.
Give like
Yeah.
a real example, like.
Yeah, just, going back here. Oh,
Yeah.
I blacked it out. I went back. Okay, so for example, this song, get them sat down, the yo-yo goes down, and then I teach with flashcards. Each one of these symbols is a flashcard, and I get them to repeat after me, and then I get them to stand up, and then we do the actions. They repeat after me, they do the actions, and then we do the song, and then they're sat down again. The yo-yo goes down, and we're on to the next part of the lesson. That's the yo-yo, up and down, keeps them busy all the time, because they're busy in their mind. Yeah.
I teach English to high teens and Japanese to adults.
Yeah.
And I always struggle for the elementary school to the students at the elementary level.
Yeah.
Because the materials are so elementary.
Well
too
said.
elementary for adults.
Yeah.
And do you know, or do you have any suggestion for me to, apply your techniques to those grown-ups or older students?
Elementary school students.
No, I teach high teens to English and Japanese to adults,
Yeah.
grown-ups.
Yeah, but yeah, you can still use the yo-yo.
Yeah.
Get them up and down. For example, flashcards. Like a set of flashcards with adults. I get my adults standing up around the table, and we play slap. It's a slam game. And it's usually like the teacher saying apple, and the kid slaps apple. But we'll do it with like clothing with the adults. And I use 2 sets of cards. So get the adults stand up around the table. One set is all face up. One set is face down in the middle. Each student takes a card. I'm wearing a hat. And the other, they love it. The adults really get into it. They get aggressive. It's great. Yeah. And again, it's not just you calling out the language. Get the students to use the language. You stand there with your hands in your pockets. That's me. That's what I like. That's my main goal.
Okay, any more questions? I'll ask for more teaching advice. What kind of songs do you work with the kids that you play yourself? And what's like?
Well, the thing is, I like to put you gotta play songs that they know. You can't go in with a new song. So you gotta pre-teach it. Yeah. So I usually play songs that they know. Most of the time it's like Christmas. We play Christmas carols and things like that. But even some of these songs, I've worked out the chords and like the hello song and that, so I'll play that on guitar. And they're like, "Oh, this is fun." Like they usually just listen to the CD, but now he's got it. Like, when I bring the guitar, they love it. They're like, "Wow, a guitar!" They'll have piano in every classroom, but like, yeah, piano. There's a guitar. Rock on. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you ever teach them Geordie? To kids?
Only when I get cross. When I get angry. Hey!
Is younglings Geordie?
I don't know. I don't know. But I did see something when I was doing like younglings. I looked it up like on the internet. And there's like this graph that showed like for maybe like 8 years ago, the use of younglings went like up. Is that the Mandalorian or something? I don't know.
It's not because of
Star Wars, yeah, Star Wars. But that's like 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
like-
That was like Mandalorian timeline. It just went up. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. I think it's
That was
interesting that your background, that you were 6, you went to Canada, and then suddenly you were in a French environment.
Yeah.
How are your memories of that? Like, can you remember that situation, and can you remember that kind of process of learning French, even though it's so far back in
Oh
time?
yeah, clearly remember it to this day. We had French was my homeroom. First thing every day I learned French. And the first activity the teacher would do was dictation. She would dictate words. And so yeah. And I remember my school pictures, like our classroom picture every year. My mom took it to work and her friends were like, "This looks like a UN meeting." Because it wasn't just French and English. Montreal is so multinational. And so, yeah, I clearly remember.
And on the other hand, your parents, how was that? Did they know French, or how did they?
No, they still live in Montreal and they don't speak French. They're both engineers, so they never needed to for work. And socially, they tried, but they're just like stuck with the Geordie. It's quite amazing you think about it. Thank you. Yeah.
Time for one more question, if not we can move on. Okay, well I think we're good, so thank you very much. Another round.